Hi, I'm John Shahidi, and you're listening to Like a Farmer. Make sure you follow, subscribe, share this.
Hey y'all, it's Pat. Welcome to another episode of Like a Farmer. As always, every single Wednesday, catch me on YouTube, wherever you listen to your audio podcast. Today, I really don't even know how to describe how excited I am. You talk about the guests that we've had in the past and the people that want to come on and celebrate rural America and celebrate the lifestyle of people wanting to be outside and drive pickup trucks and wear cowboy boots and listen to country music. I met this gentleman probably only 3, maybe 4 weeks ago, and I called him last minute for some help. He, no hesitation, wanted to help me, and I've heard nothing but great things about him, and I think he might know everybody in the world. John Shahidi is on the show today, so please tune in and get ready. John, I'm pumped, man.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
I don't even really know where to begin, but I want to start with, because we talked a little bit offline, and I know you get it, and I feel like you get it. There's a lifestyle here in Nashville, and I think Nashville's a good platform for the lifestyle, but it's what we talk about, what I call it, that rural America lifestyle, the heartland lifestyle, the people of, I think COVID had a big deal of like people wanting to get outside and learn how to catch a fish or shoot a deer or drive a pickup truck and just kind of be this heartland type of impact. And what do you think about that? Because there's a lot of people, especially in country music, wanting to get into this genre, and it seems like it's going not only here in Nashville but across the country.
I have a lot of thoughts on it, but yes, I think COVID opened up a lot of people's eyes. I think people were bored at home and were watching YouTube videos on like what life is like outside of a big city. You know, maybe they were thinking of an alternative life. How do I move out of a big city? This is scary. Or just bored watching just random videos on the Alabama shores. And, you know, most of America probably even know the Alabama shores existed. Or even the Smoky Mountains. You know, like believe it or not, a lot of people in California have no idea what the Smoky Mountains are, or the Alabama shores, or, even like the lakes in Michigan. And, you know, so I think people just started watching videos more and just learned America's a beautiful place. It's more than just LA, New York, Miami, you know? So that led towards people leaving big cities and looking into cheaper housing with more land, more property. So they started moving, you know, as you've heard of this whole, people leaving California, New York, and moving to the South, Middle America, and whatnot. You know, you even see states outside of, not necessarily South, but like in like Idaho, you know, blowing up. Boise's is a city that's blowing up. North Colorado blowing up. So I think just people wanted more property, cheaper, you know, newer housing, and just easier lifestyles, and don't be stuck in a big city. So I think that was the first step. Then you see this new generation of country music as well. You know, country music kind of had a little bit of a dull moment.
Yep.
And you know, now country is back. I've been out of music for a while. I've been more into the podcasting and building business. But when I was in music, there was a moment, country music was the second or third largest, fastest growing genre behind Latin music and hip hop. Now I think Latin's flattened or on a decline. I think hip hop's on a decline, where country's still on the up and up. I mean, I met 2 guys last night that I've never heard of. And you know, and then I was out with Kid Rock, and he's like, you know, these guys are big deals, right? I was like, really? I was just like drinking with them. I had no idea. We were just having a good time. And then looking these guys up, and like everyone at Losers going crazy over them. I'm like, so, you know, there's just all these new artists developing, smaller artists developing, the Sam Barbers of the world and whatnot. So, you know, I think country music is going to come up. And so between the music and the quality of life part, you know, I think when you combine those two, I think that's what it attributes to.
Where I want to back up now, because you've done so many things in life and continue to do it, but where did it all start? Like, where are you from? How'd you grow up? I want to get into your music time and then how you got into the podcast, but I want to start with kind of the very beginning.
Yeah, I'll skip through a lot of it because it's boring. So, we got to get people to watch this whole episode, so I don't want nobody to tune out yet. So we'll start, after high school, I just started a business where I was in the entertainment business, but back then, I graduated high school in 98. So entertainment was different back then. It was like satellite TV, the beginning of cell phones. So from like 98 to 2009, I was in that business. So that's the boring part we're going to skip through. 2009, I had this idea of bringing, I use the word celebrities because the word influencers, podcasters, creators wasn't even a thing yet. It was just celebrities. Like, that's it. I had this idea of bringing celebrities onto YouTube. Or onto social media in general, but specifically YouTube, because the only public social media platforms were YouTube and Twitter at the time. Facebook was around, but it was private profiles only. They didn't have Facebook pages or public profiles yet. MySpace had just died, so it was just those two. So that's when I had this idea of bringing celebrities on. I had a connection at Chad Ochocinco and Mike Tyson and Floyd Mayweather, those three guys. So I pitched all three of them. They were all in. So at the time, we launched Ochocinco's Twitter page, Mike Tyson and Floyd Mayweather's YouTube channels, their Twitter pages, and started building iPhone apps with them and all that. And that was like the very, very beginning of it, which those three guys, I always give them credit because they were the first. I pitched a lot of people, but they were the first three that gave me the chance. And it kind of took off from there because I think the biggest moment in my career, I met Justin Bieber, and I met Justin.
And he was at what stage in his?
I met him on his 18th birthday.
Okay,
so it was he actually had reached out because he wanted Mike Tyson to come to his 18th birthday. So his dad's only point of contact was Mike's Twitter page, which was ran by us. So I see that message. So I reach out to Mike. Mike lived in Orange County at the same time I did where I live now. And I told Mike, I was like, hey, I just got a message from Justin Bieber's dad. They're inviting you to his 18th birthday. I don't know how you feel about it, this and that. He's like, let's go. You want to go with me? I'm like, yes. So we went to Bieber's birthday party, and Bieber's all very excited to meet Mike, this and that. And, he looks at me. He's like, so what do you do? And I'm like, who are you? What do you do? Like, are you his manager? I was like, no, I just run his YouTube channel. He's like, dude, I love his YouTube channel. And at the time, we made an iPhone app for Mike as well. I was like, yeah, and I built his iPhone app. He's like, dude, I love his app. Like, I can't get past level 6. What's the secret? I'm like, oh, shit, this guy is actually a fan of our content. So me and Bieber connected then, and later he invested in the company. So the company that we have, our media company, Justin Bieber, is the third largest shareholder to this day, and he really, helped me.
So even today, he's still...
Yeah.
Which is called
It's called Shots.
Yeah.
Shots right now. There's a talk on, talk to Kyle from Nelk about, because Kyle's now a partner in the company, about rebranding it to Full Send Network. That'll probably happen in the next few months. And
can I hit on that real quick? Because I'm curious on your thoughts on a rebrand after have already done what you've done with Shots. So what makes you... And Shots, I mean, you still got a platform there and people know what Shots is. So why, when you say, talking with Kyle to maybe switch over to Full Send, why? What are your thoughts on, is that a good idea? Is it a bad idea? Does it make sense? Or are you just assuming if you know Shots, you know Full Send? Yeah,
well, Shots, if you know, you're in the industry. That's why you know Shots. It's not most folks listening to us right now don't know what Shots is. It's more of like the back end backbone. It's not a consumer first, but most people listening to this know Full Send. Right? So how do we, kind of put everything together and have one universe so oh, you're watching this as part of the Full Send network versus industry people know what Shots is. If you go to any podcast network, even music, a label, or brand advertiser, they know Shots, but the consumer doesn't know the name Shots. So why don't we give a consumer first name and become a brand, a household name? And we could think of household names. We've built household names. We built Happy Dad. It's turned into a household name. Full Send turned into a household name. Nelk Boys has turned into a household name.
You gotta feel so proud when you say that. Dude, it's been a monster ride for you.
It is. I'm proud of saying it because I'm proud of my partners. I'm 45 years old and I still feel like I'm 21 because I work with guys that just make me happy all the time. I get up every single day just happy, and I think that's a key to the internet business because these guys also keep me young. Bieber keeps me young. Kyle keeps me young. Theo keeps me young. You know what I mean? Like all these guys keep me young. So that's always, even coming here, even you showing me a tour, showing me and giving me the tour of this place keeps me, keeps me young. People don't know I'm 45. They never guess. They're probably, wait, how's this guy 45 years old? Old fart, but I'm not an old fart because of you guys like you.
So going back to the Bieber thing, so he comes in, you're doing that. He comes in as an investor early on into shots, and then at what point are you basically working now with Bieber and kind of helping him out at that early age?
So he, in the very beginning, we were building apps with everybody we were working with because that was the only way to make money. Back then, there was no YouTube ad program. Advertisers didn't believe in YouTube. Social media, there was no monetization on social media. So our only form of monetization was building apps. And Bieber, myself, and my brother, Sam, we had this idea of creating a social network around Bieber, which we did. And that was actually called Shots. It was just called The Shots app. We had about a 2-year run where it was crushing it because it was Snapchat stories before Snapchat had stories. So it was a picture, you take a picture, full size, full screen photo, disappears after 24 hours, no likes, no comments. Just take a picture every day, it'll disappear in 24 hours, don't overthink it. And so we did that. We had about 10 million users in the first 2 years, or 10 million downloads, around 6 to 8 million active users on there. And then when Snapchat introduced stories, Snapchat had like 120 million people. It kind of like took us out where, I told my brother Sam, I told Bieber, I remember I was like, I don't want to be in the app business, I want to be in the media business. And at the time, all these Vine creators were using our app. And I said, these guys are the next big names. These guys, Lele Pons, Jake Paul, Logan Paul, these guys are the best big names, the next big names in media.
And you were just seeing, like, the Paul brothers, for instance, you were just seeing them on Vine, and you just knew that they were something.
6-second videos only. And none of them had YouTube, none of them had Instagram yet. TikTok, which was Musically at first, that wasn't even around yet. Twitter didn't have video, but YouTube had just announced the creator monetization program. So I said, there's a way to make money. We don't have to build apps. What if we took all these Vine creators and brought them onto YouTube? My brother was in. He's like, hey, I could help with the production. I could help, going from 6-second videos to like 3 to 5 minute videos is, you're like 100 to 1,000 Xing the length of a video. It's hard. These guys were actually struggling going from like 6-second videos, like 30 seconds. Let alone going to 3, 4, 5 minutes. So my brother said, I could figure it out. I could build a production studio. I could, hire camera guys, all that stuff, producers, editors, whatnot. And Bieber said, well, what can I do? I said, just make content with these guys and keep them relevant. So that's when, if you remember at the time, Bieber was making Vines. He created a Vine channel. He was collaborating with King Badge and all these guys, just to help keep these guys relevant, give them a boost of like confidence. Like, you guys aren't just Vine stars, you guys are real stars. And that's when, like, there was a moment people were like, well, Vine stars are celebrities. But if you look at it, every one of them was making content with Justin Bieber, the most famous human being at the time. So like, this is something. And that's when you saw other celebrities getting in the mix. I remember, I think it was like Kevin Hart started doing stuff with them. All these hip hop artists, comedians, everyone started making stuff with Vine creators, but it started with Bieber. And the plan was to get them off Vine and move them onto YouTube.
When did the whole Kyle relationship start?
Kyle relationship started during COVID.
They had already had something prior to, and then you came in. Is that correct?
Nelk was massive. Nelk was massive at the time, but like with its own audience. Like, they weren't like most people hadn't heard. They weren't a household name. They just had their own cult following at the time. So Nelk was massive. The Folsom brand was big, which was ran by Kyle and Jesse. And I met everything. This is why I love Bieber. Like, all things lead back to him. So me and Bieber at dinner one time in LA, and Nelk happened to be at the restaurant as well. I hadn't never met Kyle yet, but he was there. We knew of each other, but we hadn't met yet in person. Justin's like, you see the Nelk Boys over there? I'm like, yeah. He's like, let's go say what's up to him. I'm like, you know him? He's like, yeah, I love their content. And we walked over, introduced ourselves, and then Kyle and I reconnected. And that very next day, Kyle, my brother Sam, a few of Kyle's friends, we went to dinner that very next day. Like, Kyle and I exchanged info, and that very next day we go to dinner. He was like, hey, listen, I'm looking for someone like you to help take us to another level. I want to build this, I want to build that. I want to, was listing like a bunch of things that he wanted to do. And the one thing he said he wanted to do was alcohol. Of the 10 things he wanted to do was alcohol. remember going home to my wife that night, and she's like, "How was dinner with the Nelk Boys?" I was like, "It's awesome. You know, they want to build a streaming platform. They want to build health and wellness brand. They want to, you know, the other thing that he said that we did later is build a podcast network. This, and that. They want to build an alcohol." She's like, and my wife's like, "Wait a minute, did you say alcohol?" I was like, "Yeah." She's like, "Imagine if you made a seltzer that catered to men with the Nelk Boys. That would crush." She's like, "Just do that. Forget about everything else." He said, "For now." So I called my brother. I was like, "Hey, I think we should focus on the alcohol part." So we called Kyle. Like, "We want to do alcohol." He's like, "Dude, I'm thinking the same. Let's just focus on alcohol," which was the inception of Happy Dad. So Happy Dad was really made to create this is our hard iced tea, but the seltzer to, market, be the seltzer for men. Make it look like a beer, feel like a beer. It's in a beer can. But it wasn't, if you remember 2020, men were drinking White Claws, but we were never, ever going to be seen in a picture drinking a White Claw. I remember, I was like, pour my shit in a red cup. Like, no, do not get a picture of me in a White Claw,
And like the tall, skinny cans.
Yeah,
this right here, you're holding a beer.
Yeah. So most people think it's a beer. We could talk on my relationship with Snoop and the collab we did with Death Row, but it's part of this story is when Snoop first called me to do, we have a flavor with Snoop.
Oh yeah.
And he called me. He's like, "Hey," one day he's like, "Hey, I think I got an idea." I was like, "What?" He's like, "We should collab with your beer." I'm like, "My beer? What beer are you talking about, Snoop?" He goes, the beer you keep posting on Instagram." I'm like, "Oh, Uncle Snoop, that's not a beer. That's a hard seltzer." And he goes, "What the fuck is a hard seltzer?" I'm like, "It's like White Claw, but for men." I don't know. I was like, "It's like White Claw, but for men." He's like, "What the fuck is White Claw?" And I'm like, there's a world out there that just has no idea what hard seltzers are that we can introduce. Because I think that's part of the secret to building a product, which we could talk on too. If you're going to build a product, you got to look at like, what is a category that is growing, and how can you bring new people into that category?
Yeah, like what we were just talking about.
Yeah, bring new people into a category. Yeah, here, right? Like, is there a media company in Nashville that's catering to everything Nashville, everything country, everything South? No. So you are doing something different here. You're bringing new. How many people are in Nashville right now? What was this week? CMAs? CMAs?
Yeah.
Like, how many people are in Nashville? What are they gonna do? What's their media stop? You know what I mean? Like, I'm sure the typical, the usual suspects are going to be at all the events. But where do they talk to people, as we know how powerful podcasts are? Podcasting is the most important form of media out there. If you want to learn, and people are giving time to podcasts, they're committing.
$8 billion industry last year, and then they're saying by 2030, like almost a $200 billion industry.
I remember we were in music for a little bit, but we got out. But I remember seeing one stat on Spotify: music consumption is like this overall, and it would be like this if it weren't country music.
Yeah.
But it's on a decline. But Spotify's crushing it. Look at their earnings. Look at their stock. They're crushing it. Wait a minute, how's Spotify crushing it? And how's their stock going up? And how's usage going up? Podcasts.
And dude, I can't wait to. I think podcast is kind of what changed the election this past year.
1 trillion%.
Yeah,
that's no secret. That's no secret.
And is that more of just of the now generation consuming content is more kind of, this holding up cell phone and social media and more streaming instead of linear television? Is that kind of what it is? Or is it more, we don't trust the other networks. We want privately owned companies, which just naturally lead to media companies, podcasts, et cetera. Like, what is it, and why are people starting to?
A little bit of both.
Why did it change the election? Is what I'm saying.
I would say the latter of what you just said. I think people, there's so much fake out there. I'm not just talking about news. That's a no-brainer. Everyone listening knows. Mainstream legacy media is manufactured and controlled and ran by advertisers and. Probably some other secret societies that we'll probably never know about, but it's people are seeing through it. There's nothing they could do about it because they're controlled by whatever money's being injected into their network, so they're controlled by them. and people are seeing through it. And I think people just want more and more, and they want more realness. They want podcasts is real, even sports. Like think about this a lot, but like sports viewership's through the roof right now, and now you're seeing like new leagues coming out of nowhere with crazy viewership. Banana ball, for instance. You familiar with that? Mm-hmm. Why is banana ball so big? Why is UFC growing so much? Why is golf, that's been around for centuries, so big now? People want realness because content is becoming more fake. And it's going to get more and more fake content, not just news. News is fake, mainstream media is fake. But content in general is going a fake direction with AI. And eventually movies, shows, are going to be mostly created by AI, and it's going to be fine. People are going to watch it, but sometimes people just want that real human connection. They want to hear a human being on television. They want to listen to a human being. And I think that's where, we're in the beginning stages of that with podcasting. People just not want that realness. And that's where Trump was very smart, because he saw that. He's like, all right, mainstream media is manufacturing me, turning me into this monster that I'm not. How do I show realness? And he did this podcast run and showed the realness of him versus her, or the other guy. So it was like, all right, I think the realness of it, of like, nope, the Trump's going there, no filter. Every time we work with Trump, there was never, hey, let me see the questions before, hey, let me see the edit, take this out. There was never, ever, ever any of that, which is unheard of.
With anybody, it's let alone the guy running for president.
There's always, there's a lot. We've had a lot of guests. It's like, hey, listen, what are the topics before? Please don't talk about this. Hey, can we see the edit? He said this or she said this by accident. Can you take that out? Like, it happens all the time. Never once with the man running for president did that ever happen.
That's unbelievable.
Right? So it was what you saw with Trump.
100%
on
real.
Nelk, Theo, Aiden Ross, Patrick Bet-David, Rogan, Schultz. Everything you saw was 100% real Trump, and the world sees through that, and that's what helped him win by a landslide.
Couldn't agree more. Mm-hmm. When you work with Trump, like what are some scenarios that you've worked with him, and just coming on some of the podcasts that you work with?
Well, the podcast,
y'all spent time together.
Yeah, we spent a lot of time together. We were on Trump Force One. We made it. There was a video on the Nelk channel that you could watch us on Trump Force One, but I think that was only like 20 minutes of it. We spent the whole day with him that day, which was the best. Like, so funny.
Hey y'all, it's Pat with Like a Farmer. Are you looking to add some local flavors to your recipes? Well, visit freshfromflorida.com today, where you can browse hundreds of delicious recipes that bring Florida freshness to your table all year round. Become a Fresh from Florida member for free and create your own menus. Save and send your favorite dishes and get exclusive access to monthly newsletters packed with fresh local recipes. I can promise you will be a favorite in your neighborhood. From the Florida fields to your fork, year-round freshness and flavor are just a logo away. Fresh from Florida, there's a sunshine in every bite. Hey y'all, today's episode is brought to you by Ag America, your go-to financial partner for all things agriculture. As the largest independent financial firm dedicated to rural America, Ag America is changing the game when it comes to ag lending and leveling up finance options for farmers, ranchers, and landowners across the nation. And I'll let you know a little secret. The thing that sets this company apart from the rest is the people. They understand firsthand the unique needs of American farmers and ranchers because many of them grew up on farms themselves. They take a farmer-focused approach to finance, prioritizing relationships over transactions to help you build a stronger financial foundation for you and your family. So whether you're looking to buy land or secure working capital, Ag America has your back. Visit agamerica.com today to learn more and see how they can help you achieve long-term financial success. Because when farmers thrive, we all do. How was it? Like, are there any cool stories you're allowed to?
I'm sure I could. But I think I'm just trying to think of the funniest story I think I've got with that. There's a story that I always share with my friends. it's not R-rated if anyone's expecting some crazy Trump stories.
Yeah, yeah.
I mean, like,
Yeah.
he's not the president. Like, it's almost everything's professional. But I think the funniest story was us. So we flew to California at a rally. So we flew from Nevada to California, and I'm on this like super strict diet. I've been on this Gary Brecka program that me and Dana White got on about November of 2022. So I'm like dropped 90 pounds since then. Like me and Dana keep each other in check and all this. So like we kind of like have this like offline like kind of competition of like just staying healthy. So we're flying from Nevada to the rally. The only food option on Trump Force One was Chick-fil-A. So I'm like, all right, I'm not touching that. So everyone's eating Chick-fil-A. Like I'm good. So we get to the rally. We spend a few hours at the rally, and I asked someone from Trump's team. I said, "Hey, on the flight back, like, what are we getting for food?" And he was like, "I'm not sure yet. Most likely McDonald's. We're hoping since we're in California, he goes with In-N-Out, but I think it'll end up being McDonald's." I was like, "All right, is there a way I could put in a special order?" He's like, "What?" I was like, can I get something custom? He's like, mm-mm. Like, it's all the same thing. I'm like, what do you mean? He's like, it's a lot easier for us to get the same thing that he wants. I'm like, all right, cool. I'm not going to push on this. Like, I'm not going to be that bougie guy, asking for a salad. I mean, it's already weird asking for a salad from McDonald's. So we got on the plane, and the food option was, everyone had the same food. It was a quarter pounder, 10-piece nugget, and a Coke. So I'm like, all right, I'm not touching this. I guess maybe I'll take the patty out, but I'm not touching this. So that's that story. A couple weeks later, if you see that picture, if you remember, there was a picture with Trump, Elon Musk, Don Jr., and Bobby Kennedy Jr. And remember that it was like went viral because they had, and if you look at it, it was the same exact food. So it's just funny to me that nobody gets, like, not even like Bobby Jr. or Elon Musk get anything custom. True. Like, whatever he wants, everyone has to get. Whether you're John Shahidi or the Nelk Boys or Elon Musk and Bobby Kennedy Jr., you know what I mean? Like,
this is what you're getting.
Yeah, this is what you're getting. Like, so I remember thinking, I was like, damn, like, one day maybe I'll be able to get something custom. But, like, no, those guys, if you look at that picture, it's the same exact thing. Like, you have no options. Like, it's whatever he wants, everyone gets.
You know you've made it if you get the custom President Trump's meal, is what you're saying. Because nobody's been able to do it yet. You're getting a nuggets, burger, and a Coke.
You've made it in that way.
Fries,
if you get something custom, you have not made it. Because, that's not how he rolls. Like, you've made it if you're eating what he, that's what Elon gets. That's what Bobby Kennedy, right? He looks all uncomfortable in that picture. We should pop that picture up on here. But that's the funniest picture. He looks uncomfortable, but he didn't have a choice. I'm sure if I asked, he asked for something different. But like, nope. You're getting a quarter pounder with a 10-piece nugget.
That's unbelievable. You mentioned Dana White, and this is what I'm telling you, I mentioned it before. Like, you're well known, and when somebody talks about John Shahidi, it's like, I love that guy. Like, he's brilliant. He's a good dude. He'll do anything for you. Dana White's one of those guys. I mean, he's been public about y'all's relationship. How did that come about? Because a business like monster, which I'm sure you love. I mean, he's an entrepreneur to the core.
He is. And believe it or not, most things that me and Dana talk about aren't business, even though, I mean, he's an absolute legend. He's I always say this is a bold statement, but I say it anyways. I think he's the Steve Jobs of sports. I think he's, what he's done with the UFC, is what Steve Jobs did in tech. Like, and I think the UFC is just the beginning of it. I think Dana is the only really time we talk about this. I try not to talk too much sports with him because everyone's probably like, hey, UFC, what's next? When's McGregor come back? You know what I mean? Like, me and him, we like share memes and talk about diet is what we do. But the few times we've talked about sports is like the future of sports and AI and how AI is going to impact. And I think that's one of the reasons why he even got into other sports ventures, whether it's Power Slap, Street League, skateboarding, Nitro Cross and Nitro Circus. Who knows? I think he's getting into boxing. Dana also sees that the world of sports is going to be very necessary in the future with AI content coming everywhere, everywhere. So there'll be AI podcasts, but that's when you're going to win, because you want to listen to a machine talking, or you want to talk, a nice wholesome man from Tennessee talking, so and I think there'll be space, and I think I've even looked into it, like how do we get into AI podcasts. They'll be fine, there'll be a world for it, just like there'll be AI movies and AI TV shows and AI documentaries, but there will also be a real humanized world that's also gonna flourish. So day not that we talk about that, but more like we're just buddies. Like I could look at my phone like today. He's probably sent me like 2 memes, or he'll like, send me some idiot who said something stupid on the internet, and he'll just literally be like, "This guy's an idiot."
Yeah,
like,
get him going.
Yeah.
How'd you find out about like what I'm doing and all of that stuff? Because I remember the day I was like, dude, John Shahidi just followed me, and like, I'm going to give it, I'll be completely honest with you, just humbled, transparent. Like when that day happened, and I don't know what you saw or what happened, I was just like, okay, I'm going to wait 24 hours and I'm going to hit him up and be like, hey, I want you to come on the show because I've seen what you have done in media spaces and podcasts, and you seem like a believer. But how did that come about? Did you see something? Or?
I did. And I think you might understand this. A lot of people listening, it might go over their head a little, but hear me out. I've never watched a full episode of yours, but I've watched a lot of clips. And I was like, he knows how to clip. He knows how to get, I forgot which one it was. I mean, I watched a bunch, but I'm trying to think of the first one. I want to say it was John Daly.
Yeah.
There was a clip that went viral.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I think a big important thing for anybody, real quick, for 20 seconds, I just want to say why I'm even here. I'm always kind of like behind the scenes guy, so I don't do a lot of podcasts.
Yeah.
And if I do a podcast, it's not necessarily for self-promotion. It's so I can share everything I've learned. So like for whether you or a listener, somebody takes what I've done the last 16 years and runs with it. More of us, the better. And I saw you knew how to clip. I was like, wow. And I just followed you, just because I was interested in your clips. And I think it's a very important piece. Clipping is so important for podcasts because it's like a movie trailer. Like if you know how to make a good movie trailer, people are going to watch the movie ultimately. And you knew how to do that. And I think it's a side of our business that we want to take a lot more serious. We clip everything, but I think clipping is going to become more and more important. I think clipping is going to become important for advertisers. Kyle Forjar and I talked the other day about this. Is like, what if the future of advertising with Happy Dad wasn't necessarily a guy holding up a Happy Dad and say, go to your store? What if the future advertising of Happy Dad were 2 guys on a podcast talking about why this is good, 1 gram of sugar, comparing it to some of our competitors. The other teas are like 20, 24 grams of sugar. Wow, this is, and they open it up. It actually tastes great too. How they do that with 1 gram of sugar. This is awesome. Take that 15, 20-second piece and make that the ad versus some fake. Going back to realness and fakeness is, fakeness would be some paid model. I love Happy Dad, this and that, and run that.
Great point,
but you go to her
man.
Instagram and she's drinking Truly or High Noon, so people see through that. You know what I mean? Like people see through that. But we're, and I think one podcast, not even future podcast, today a podcast is important because of clipping, but I think the future of advertising will also be what's going back to real and fake with AI and sports, or film and TV and sports. I think advertising is going to have to be more real as well. I saw that part, and that's when I just started following you. And I didn't know you were building all this. What you're building here is something I've been thinking about doing for like the last 4 years. Our podcasts are either more like talking to college kids or sports fans, but I've been talking about this for years. And Kid Rock and I met back in 2021. It's like, what about a podcast network in Nashville? We've talked about this. And then when you gave me this tour, I was like, this is what we've been wanting to do. And we probably won't because you're doing it, but we'd love to work with you.
We'll figure something out.
No, we don't. One thing with our business is we partner with people. We don't steal from people. We don't walk around and, people who have, talent, right? Like they're always scared of me. Their management's always scared of me because they're like, wow, my talent loves you. They met with you, this and that. And then, in LA, especially in Hollywood, the guards go up. Oh shit, I'm going to lose this guy to Shahidi. Because my guy loves Shahidi won't stop talking about it, so they get all insecure. But we don't steal talent. We partner with teams. You know, if you know, I won't say his name yet because we haven't signed him, but we had a great call with a guy who's got a big up-and-coming sports podcast, and his manager was on the call. And I called the manager after. You know, the talent texted me after that call. It was amazing. He's like, cool, I'm going to talk to your manager. You know, we partner with people. So that's always been our mindset.
Can I tell you kind of the story on how this became?
Please.
Like, past life was at a company called Ag American, and still, to an extent, still there because of what they do and what they build. And what that is like lending money to farmers and ranchers all across the country, okay? Well, 2020 happened, and 80% of the book were full-time ranchers and farmers borrowing money, whether it's to, you know, buy new land or operating money to run the land, et cetera. Well, then the new demographic came into the portfolio of John Shahidi or an athlete or a musician or an attorney or a doctor leaving the city. Oh, I want to go buy 10 acres, or I want to go buy 20 acres. I want to be a hobby farmer. I want to buy a recreational piece of land to go hunt or hunt fish. So we started seeing that, and then that was almost 50% of our book at the time. Yellowstone comes out, and you've got everybody wearing a cowboy hat now and a pickup truck and country music. I mean, I think still, I have to fact check myself, but it's still a top genre, especially on Spotify when it comes to streaming. It 100%. Might be number one.
It's a top two for sure.
Okay. So then I got into a business relationship with a kid out of Fireball, California named Josh Allen. Started helping his family out on the family farm. And Josh was at the Buffalo Bills, and Josh was just such a beautiful, he's a brother to me. I call him Big Brother, even though I'm a little bit older than him. But he'll take me to Augusta every year, and we'll have a great time at the Masters. And 2 years ago, I went to Josh. I said, man, there's a story that needs to be told, because there's a lifestyle that is getting more popular every single day. Like, Josh, people just know you because you're MVP, you're the best in the league. I'm saying he's the best. I'm biased. He's top 2, top 3. But
I think he's best.
Okay, good.
I'm not a Bills fan.
Okay.
But I think,
that's
arguable. Comment below who you think is the best quarterback.
I love you, man.
Argue with me. Call me what you want. You know?
And then I said, because I need you, Josh. If we can, because I'm a nobody, man. I need you to help me build this thing. If we can just focus on 4 pillars for right now of what I think rural America, the heartland, like truly believe in. Sports, and everybody loves sports, but you could focus on NASCAR. I mean, my buddy Ross Chastain, who does a show under my company, unbelievable human being, 8th-generational farmer out of Florida. He just won the Coca-Cola 600 in Charlotte last week. Oh. Ross Chastain. So you could focus on certain sports that you believe, whether it's college football, but maybe it's SEC college football. But hell, you get into the Big 12, and I mean, they're monster football fans too. Food. This is the most important time, not only where people want to know where their food comes from, but who's growing their food. I mean, we fuck around. Like, you can't have China or even corporate America buy all your real estate. Luckily, majority percentage is still family-owned farms. You never want to be a country that's dependent on getting food from other places. So I think food was my second biggest pillar. Country music. Because what we've been talking about, it's not just your 90s country music anymore. I mean, hell, I was with Big X The Plug last night. I mean, everybody's wanting to get in country music. And then obviously outdoors. And that's farming, that's kayaking, that's hunting, that's fishing. So if I can focus on outdoors, sports, country music, and food, and create a media network of that type of content, I feel like I have something. And Josh literally, and I had only known him for maybe 2 years at the time, but stroked me a check. I gave him some equity, and we took off to the races.
Oh, so Josh is a partner here?
Oh, yeah. Oh. Big partner.
Oh, I had no idea.
Yeah. Wow. So, and very involved partner. Like, yeah. Oh, okay. Josh gets it. I mean, like.
So he's like what Bieber is to me. Like,
yes, that's correct. Wow. Now, when football season starts, he's locked in because my boy's focused on bringing that Lombardi to Buffalo. Yeah. But, like, we talk every single week, and, like, he'll give me advice, or I'll hit him up like, hey, I need this, I need that. And, like, he believed in me day one. Smart before dude. We had anything. Yeah,
that's brilliant of him. Yeah, okay, well, I didn't know that, but I have a lot of thoughts on there. But one, much respect for Josh for seeing this. A lot of people don't see this, like, they don't. I think a guy at the level of, like, Josh Allen, Bieber, Dana White, right? Who probably will. Josh might have his own podcast when he retires one day in 10 years, but they're not going to have their own podcast. So
you talking about Allen?
Yeah, Josh Allen.
I'm with you. I've like, Josh, come on, you start a show. You start a show. He's like,
no chance.
I got to win it.
We tried one with his backup, with one of his friends, Kyle Allen. We tried one, but like even him as a backup, didn't have time. There's no chance. So when they're in season, there's no chance. We have podcasts with Max Crosby, and off season does well, but like his is a little different, and he's also very catered to Raider Nation with him, which Josh could do the same with Bills Mafia. But there's like the quarterbacks, like there's no chance right now, and he shouldn't. But to be a partner in one is brilliant. Like that's I had no idea, and there's a lot you could do with that platform, right? Like bring him on. I mean, he could do things. He could share clips, and
he has, man. I mean, it's so funny. You can go to his page, and it's literally like every 5 posts you'll just see my ugly mug on his page because he helps me out. And he'll come on the show whenever you need me on the show. Come on the show, and it's not like you need a Josh Allen every single week, but like it's nice when you can call him up and say, "Hey, come on the show." It's funny you say that because like you're spot on. He won't come and start his own show, but like if I need him to come on the show,
maybe in 10 years he will. I saw LeBron, I think, just did something, but he's tail end of his career.
Correct. Yeah, and Kelsey. Right, and Kelsey's won however many of those damn Chiefs have won.
Some could find the balance, but I think a quarterback's head is a lot more calculated.
It's a great point.
Where it'll be difficult. I might be wrong. Someone might watch this in a year, and never know. Joe Burrow does one, crushes it, and crushes the podcast. We don't know, but I think a quarterback, just knowing quarterbacks, working with Kyle Allen, used to work with Carson. I actually founded the company originally, way before Bieber, with Jordan Palmer, Carson Palmer's brother, he was a backup quarterback. Actually, I think he trained Josh Allen. There was like quarterback camp before. But anyways, the quarterbacks are different. They're different beasts. Their heads are
especially at that level.
They're like almost like, CEO of a tech company, like their brains are just wired differently. So, but it was brilliant, and you bringing him in as a partner is brilliant as well. But I want to talk about those verticals you're talking about with podcasting. Now, how many of those are you doing right now? Like how many podcasts do you have out of here, except other than yours?
Probably 7.
Okay.
Yeah. And some of them, I mean, you try to figure out, dude, I'm a farm kid out of Florida, and then I got into finance, and then I just started. So it's not like I have all this like experience. I know how to capture an audience, I think, especially my audience. But I mean, there's a show called Discover Ag, which is 2 female farmers out of the Midwest that are unbelievable, New Mexico and Nebraska, that have a great just like pop culture agriculture show. Mullets on the Mic, which was an offensive lineman out of University of Georgia, Tate Ratledge, who just got drafted to the Lions. Ag to Asphalt, which is Ross Chastain's show, where he, every single stop in the NASCAR circuit, he'll go and highlight a family farm operation and then race the next day. And then we'll bring the farmers onto the race, call it Ag to Asphalt. Just highlighting farming operations all across the country. I mean, NASCAR's from New York to Florida to Texas to California. I mean, they're all over the place. And then we're starting, I think, 2 by the end of this year. So we've had some that we've started that have gone dormant, and that's just kind of how it goes. I mean, you try it.
We do too.
I have no idea if, the perfect sauce on how to start a media company or how to keep it going. But the biggest thing is surrounding yourself with the right people. I've got a great executive producer. I've got a great, team, obviously great partners. And I got, great camera guys and editors and social media people. And when I say that, it seems like I have a ton of employees. I got 3 employees, like at the end of the day. But we'll see. We've only been doing it for 18 months. But everybody's like, Pat, you get these sponsors and you get these monster guests. Like John Daly don't just go on anybody's fucking show.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Yeah. And the biggest thing is the storytelling of it and the content of it. And it's not like let's just do it for clicks guy. I truly enjoy storytelling. I want to know who John Shahidi is and pick his brain, and I want to know who John Daly is, the man behind the golf swing.
I forgot his name, but I saw the clip. You had the guy from Yellowstone and Tulsa King.
Yeah, Neil McDonough.
Yeah,
I want to tell Neil what a beautiful human being.
I thought it was
man.
AI. I was like, is that really him? Yeah, that was a good one.
He just started his own studio company to highlight the heartland and highlight rural America. I mean, the guests that come on that like have passion in that space are unbelievable.
Yeah. Let's talk about this more. I think a couple things I'm thinking of how to make this a powerful platform. I guess we're just going to have to share publicly, which I don't mind.
Yeah. We'll cut some if we need to.
I don't think we could cut, because if Trump says don't cut, who are we to say cut?
That's a great point. Yeah, you're right.
Like, that's my mentality. That's why I didn't even text you. Let's talk about this. Don't talk about this. You know, like if the president of the United States doesn't say it, like why should we? You know, like
that's a good point.
That's my argument with everyone these days. Like, you know, we have like CEOs of companies coming. They're like, hey, you know, we need to do a full review of the episode. I'm like, no.
PR agencies too.
I mean, unless something really bad, which I can't even recall something that happened, but you know, but I think the one thing is focus on one. Have that big anchor podcast, which this could be it.
Yeah.
This is it.
Like a Farmer. Yeah.
Yeah. This is it. And build this one. You know, you've got great guests and John Daly, Neil,
McDonough.
Yeah, McDonough. I haven't seen. Those are the only two really I've seen, but I'm sure there's others. But whatever it is, you take that momentum of those two, and by the time, you know, a year from now, we're gonna name 20 other people that you've had.
Yeah, the biggest, just real quick. I mean, the Josh Allen, the John Daly, Neil McDonough, Jackson, the tractor kid. Have you ever seen this little kid who's like, I think he's 8 or I don't know how old. Jackson's gonna be so mad at me, but he's like a 90-year-old and he knows everything about tractors. And then JB Mooney was a $7 million bull rider that fell off a bull and broke his neck and never could ride a bull again. So like that was a monster episode. We had Sydney Thomas on the show too.
Oh really?
Sydney Thomas from the Jake Paul's Ring Girl.
Yeah.
To tell her story, which is a really cool one. You know, Midwest girl, went to Alabama, and I mean, she comes from some family farming operations too, and she's very well spoken.
Yeah,
so that was a cool episode.
We talked to her for a bit. We almost did a podcast with her. She wanted to call it one. I don't know if she ever did it. She wanted to call it Behind the Boobs.
But anyways, go ahead.
Yeah, I think so. Those are great. You know, and there's others. I think with this podcast, I think it's one of those things. If you're in Nashville, like I am for 24 hours, you must stop by here, right? Like that's how you got to brand it. It's like stop by. Like that's how I felt. You know, I'm just coming in here. I've got dinner with JD Vance tonight, which I was telling you about. But and you know, I've got a long day, right? Like dinner with the vice president. But I was like, no, I got to do this. I got to see Pat.
Respect,
and I think that's the mindset. And that's just me, who doesn't do a lot of podcasts. If you got a new song coming out, or we just started working with Rocker Steiner.
Stud. Yeah. And Rocker, I'm calling you out once again. I know I called you out 2 nights ago and last week. You've told me like, oh, Pat, I'm going to slide by the studio, and you haven't yet. So Rocker, I love you, buddy. It's time, okay?
He'll do it. He'll do it. People need to know his personality more. And, you know, you watch his clips. It's crazy.
I did see that. Great grab. I mean,
Well, Happy Dad is also growing in the communities that you're talking about. Everything that you named, from NASCAR to country to agriculture, farmers, like Happy Dad has become the drink, and we never even marketed. And then I met Rocker through my friend Tyler Norman, and he was like, hey, listen, I think we got to pour gasoline on the fire in this market. And I'm like, yeah, you know, who do we talk to? We have a partnership with Dustin Lynch, who's been great.
He's been on the show.
Oh, he's been here?
Yeah.
Really? No shit?
Yeah.
He's the best.
I mean, so over Riley, who you met last night, and Gavin, all those guys, I will say,
Gavin's been on here?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, really? He's a funny guy.
Believable.
I didn't even know. We were just...
episode.
Yeah.
And I got my flowers, I guess it was not too long ago, because when you... not an issue in Nashville, not an issue with a country musician, but sometimes you'll catch an artist when they're doing a circuit, which is totally fine. But you'll see them on multiple podcasts, and that's not a bad thing. But it is nice when you're the first one. Yeah. And I'm the guy who got Gavin first, and then he went on a circuit, a couple in town. He did Burt Kreischer's. I mean, he did a few, but it is nice to kind of get that first.
Yeah.
But anyway, Dustin Lynch, great dude.
Yeah. Going back to this is. Focus on building this more, especially those names. You know, like And by the way, for someone like me who is new to your Instagram, there's nothing wrong with resurfacing old clips as well. Remind people, maybe Gavin or Dustin or someone said something that's relevant to the news today.
Yep.
Like maybe, I don't know. For example, like they were talking about the song they're writing back then, and then that song pops off now. Resurface that clip, remember you talked about it here, because people aren't going to go that far back. So remind people that's what the clips channel should look like. Just keep resurfacing clips, especially if there are topics that could be relevant to what's going on in the world today. The second thing I've got to say, very, very important, monetize. Make money. Cash is king, right? Like this place is not cheap. I can already tell, and I'm not saying monetize so you could go buy a private jet tomorrow. No, forget about the private jet. Build this out so you could have incentives to capital to bring on other podcasts as well. Because what's also going to happen is you and I are pretty smart guys, but there's also a lot of other smart people who are thinking of doing this as well. They're going to listen to this, be like, oh shit, I got to go do this. I had this idea too, or wherever you are. And good, you should. However, you will have competition. And so how do you beat your competition is cash. So that's the other thing I've got to say. And then 3, which I can already tell you're great at, is have your Rolodex ready to go. Yep. So someone's in town, John Shahidi's in town, Dustin Lynch from Rocker Steiner is, I hate to say this because I actually hate this part of the job, but it's important, is like I am the talent booker for almost all our podcasts. You know what I mean? Like I hear JD's in Nashville. I'm like, hey, Theo's in Nashville. You want to go on Theo's podcast? Now they're recording a podcast today. So, you know what I mean? Like have that. That's a very powerful thing. When Elon was on, I met Elon in 2012 with Bieber. And when in 2022, when he did the Nelk Boys podcast, the same thing. Kyle's like, don't you know Elon? I was like, yes. So do you think you could ask him to come on podcast? Like long shot, but sure, I'll ask.
Do you feel like you're asking too many favors, or is it now you're giving them opportunities?
Now I'm doing them a favor.
Correct.
Right? Like now I'm doing them a favor.
I agree.
Going back to you and Rocker, maybe 6 months ago, Rocker would do you a favor. You're an up and coming podcast. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'll do them a favor. Whatever. He's my boy. He's a nice guy. I'll do it. But as this grows, it's like, no, Rocker, I'm doing you a favor. You are awesome. People need to know what you're doing. You're part of a sport that's growing. That's one of the sports that's growing as well. Growing like this. 100%. The realness of it, all the stuff we talked about, the Yellowstone economy, all of that.
Western culture.
Yeah. All of that. Western culture is the proper way, but for mainstream people in Hollywood, they just call it the Yellowstone. I actually just made that up, but they'll connect more. Right? Yeah. Yellowstone had a huge impact on the Western culture. Oh. So, let's let people know how awesome you are. And all it takes for someone like Rocker is, that's what took me to want to partner with him, was Tyler Norman, who is one of my best friends. He works at Happy Dad and runs a Texas market for us. He was like, I'm going to bring him. We took him to Power Slap in Vegas. And he's like, spend some time with Rocker. So we went to Power Slap together. We grabbed dinner. He's like, you just need to spend an hour with this guy. You're going to love this guy. And I think that's the same thing with you. Is like he just has to spend an hour with you for your audience to be like, I love this guy. And now Rocker Steiner will be a household name as he's becoming already. And you're just going to take that to another level for him. So anyway, that's the Rolodex is going to be very, very, very important for your podcast, for other podcasts joining your network. Well, Pat, why should I join you? Well, would you like Kid Rock on your podcast? You could do that. Yep. You know what I mean? Would you like Rocker Steiner on your podcast? And then, you call Bob, or you call Rocker or Dustin, or any of the other guys. I'm sure Josh in the off season, like Josh, we have the fastest growing agriculture podcast. Will you jump on there? Of course. Mm-hmm. Just tell me when, Pat. You know what I mean? Like, and all of a sudden, like now you got the competitive advantage. So those 3 things, but it starts with one. Grow this one as much as possible, so you show the views, because the views, more than money, the anchor, the views is the biggest currency. look what I've done with this. I want to do that with you. And then you do the collaboration, right? You're big enough now in this podcast where that host of that podcast comes on here, you introduce their show, why you partnered, why they should subscribe to that channel. They get that initial, oomph, and then it just snowballs from there.
How many or who is under the network that you're working with?
Well, Nelk's the biggest one, and we've spun off a few things with Nelk, but Nelk is the reason why the Full Send podcast is why, we even spun off Steiny as his own. Steiny was a co-host of that for a while, and Steiny's podcast has been doing so well. He'll still jump in on some of the Full Send ones, but his is doing so well where we had a conversation with Steiny. We're like, focus on this. Like yours is Steiny's is one night with Steiny's one of my I guess you could call it a guilty pleasure, but it's just so funny to me. Like it's one of the most funny podcasts. If you understand his personality, if you know his personality, like you're just like, because that's actually how he is as a person. So, and people will dedicate enough hours to his podcast to realize, you don't have to be his friend in person to know who he is. You just have to listen to him. So that's one. What we're doing now is we're just, because we have this influx of brand partners who want to work with us, from all the different gambling platforms, crypto platforms, anything that caters to male audiences. I think that what they saw after what we did for the election, a couple of stories have come out. There was this Bloomberg article. All these advertisers who want to cater to men are calling us. So now we're working with like some of the bigger names in podcasting to help them take them to another level. We'll still kind of spin off and start our own, but also like take existing ones to another level.
So you'll like on the Theo thing, you help Theo on some things?
Theo and I are friends. Theo's independent. So Theo's independent and he's always going to stay independent. That's just Theo. He'll never really say like, I joined this big network. One is he doesn't need to, he's already big. So Theo and I are just more friends where, I'll help him with guests. I'll help him with some partners, strategize, what do we got to do to, make things a little bit different? Are we going too political or whatever, and he'll just call me for like 5 minutes and we'll talk on the phone. But, Theo and I think this is the relationship I have with everyone I work with. And I think that's also part of the secret too, is friends first with everybody. This is not a business transaction. I'm not your manager, I'm not your producer, I'm your friend that's going to help. And I think that's also, even Bieber and I, Bieber and I never talk about what's the valuation of shots or, how much, what's the bottom line look like at the end of the year. We're just friends and we're just doing cool stuff together. And, and that's how that's why me and him have had this relationship since, 13 years. Kyle and I, 5 years. Theo and I, I think that's the other important part too. Got to be, as much as we talk about on camera, we got to be real. Off camera, you got to be real 100%. As well. Everything just got to be real.
You mentioned Elon's name and hit on Elon as well, but what are some other people that you've ran into in your life that have just been inspirational and kind of made an impact?
There's obviously Elon, Dana, Bieber, Kid Rock. Again, Kid Rock and I have no businesses at all together. We're just friends. We have no businesses. We've never even talked about business at all. Like we should do this or that. We just help each other. There's a lot of people. Like there's a lot. I mean, even on the personal side, my brother and I. My brother, he's a machine. He's the operator. He runs Happy Dad. He's the CEO of Happy Dad. He runs the 118 plus employees at Happy Dad. All work underneath. He's got a lot of senior level executives now at Happy Dad that report to him. So he doesn't have to talk to 118 people. But I think he's one. My wife, she's always the one that I'll go home from work and have a problem to solve, and she'll hear me out and help me solve the problem.
That's awesome.
It's not just the big influential names. A lot of great partners, a lot of our investors. Any investor that comes in on any of our companies have got to be someone that's very helpful. Can't just be a check. So we have a lot of great investors, whether on the shot side, Happy Dad side, Full Send side. We have 3 different entities, a 4th one now launching with our beef jerky brand. We have this that's launching.
I was just looking at that.
Yeah, this is going to be very big.
You think?
Yeah.
And it's a full send, and it's just a nicotine pouch.
Just a nicotine pouch.
And okay, so I do Zen. I'm a Zen guy.
Yeah.
And no sponsorship or whatsoever. But I'm assuming in your mind, this is going to be one of those things of, hey, people are using this. This is, I think, I'm sorry, tobacco, but I think this is a new day and age. I dipped for like 10, 12 years, and then I just got into like the pouch side. I'm not loyal to any single pouch, so I'm assuming when you get into this game, it's going to be all about the brand and how you portray it to the consumer. Is that an accurate statement? Because I don't get why Zen is like, and it might not be, you could correct me if I'm wrong, like Zen is the biggest one.
Like 85% of the market share is Zen.
Is that okay?
Yeah. Which is owned by Philip Morris.
Gotcha.
So they saw the writing on the wall too, that dipping and smoking is on a decline.
Yep.
So it's pretty much Zen and everybody else. You know, like you name it, right? Like, you know, there's no number two. And I think the number two is you got to remember, this is most likely, and that's why we're still not done with the branding yet. This is most likely going to be behind the cashier at your local convenience store gas station. So you got, you know, about 10 to 15 feet away. So it's got to pop.
Yep.
So you got the branding, but also you got to be distributed. You have to be everywhere in order. Distribution is very, very difficult. We've learned this with Happy Dad. You know, Happy Dad's only in 22% of stores in U.S. You know, over 4 years in, only 22%. That number's hopefully going to grow to closer to 40% by the end of this year, and somewhere between 70 to 80% by the end of 2026. But distribution's everywhere. There's so many different stores. And this, like, it's not just the stores that carry Happy Dad. Now you have smoke shops as well. So distribution is the key, and that's something that we've built internally with Happy Dad. When I say 118 employees, most of them talk to all the retail stores. Mm-hmm. We skipped. I don't want to say we skipped a lot of middlemen. We work together with our distributors to build a great relationship. So now we could say, all right, you carry Happy Dad, even though it's a completely different company. You know, there's also this other brand we want to. You know, we'll have a whole different team as well because it's a whole different entity. It's a different product. But take what I've learned from Happy Dad and now realize, one, branding. We got to nail the branding. This pops, you know, when you go down the aisle of a seltzer or beer section at a store, the Death Row can pops.
Simple, dude, the Death Row. But how about shout out? Look, we've been talking about Happy Dads for a lot, but I grabbed a can from my golf tournament. Thank you once again. And there was like a little scratch off that said Mom.
Yeah, yeah.
So, I mean, the brand, and it's simple, right? If you like it was like a Sharpie and it just had Mom on it.
Well,
like,
my brother designed that one. He wanted to give the can a little attitude because for so many years, so many moms were like, well, what about Mom? What about Mom? And you know, going back to what I was saying earlier is you got to learn how to bring new people into a category. And with moms, what we realize this is why most seltzer companies fail, because they all go after the 25-year-old female. Everyone is going after the 25-year-old female, which is pretty much owned by, not owned, but majority of the market share is White Claw or High Noon for females, 25 years old. We said, but there's also a world out there, you know, if our average customer is 28 to 30 years old, their mom is late 50s to late 60s. What about them? You know, the mostly wine, gin, vodka drinkers. What about them?
On.
Yeah. So what about them? So that's why Happy Mom, we went after the female demographic of, you know, in the, you know, from like late 40s to 60s. And we've been doing good on there. We need to market it more. A lot of people don't know it even exists yet because the marketing started with telling our existing customers who's, you know, 28 to 30, you know, late 20s to early 30s, buy this for your mom. You know, every Mother's Day we'll do a blitz. Need a last minute gift. Here's a $20 gift. That'll be a perfect gift. You know, you forgot something, you're on Mother's Day, go to your local store, find a Happy Mom 12 pack, gift wrap it. It'll be good enough. So that's how we market it. We sell out everywhere Mother's Day, but now it's time to, Mother's Day is just one day a year. So now it's time to take that to another level, which we will. Our focus 2 years ago was the grape flavor. Last year was hard iced tea. This year we're launching this year a lemonade. That'll also be potentially, we're still working on it, but potentially a little higher alcohol in there, maybe up to 10% alcohol.
Can we just lock in on a seltzer that's like built for the farmer? You know what I'm saying? Like
It's called Happy Dad.
I'm with you on that.
Yeah.
Is that kind of like on the? You're saying like the rocker thing and what he's doing, and maybe there's some other ones in your mind. You're also trying to hit for that audience too. I didn't know if we could have like a special can though. I don't know the data
Let me tell you,
behind it.
Pat,
Like,
I'm going to tell you something, but I'm not going to say with who. There's going to be a huge collaboration that's going to hit the outdoor community. I can't say who yet.
with Happy Dad?
With Happy Dad.
Okay, cool.
Huge.
Yeah.
Huge. I just show it to you. I don't mean to disservice anyone watching. I just legally can't.
Yeah.
That's gonna be the collab.
Know the owner? I'm assuming.
I don't know. My brother's talking to them.
Oh, okay.
So, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, we need
really?
to FaceTime him after this. Great. We got a college football rivalry.
But am I hitting that demo?
Yes.
Okay.
In multiple different levels, and we'll talk about it.
Yeah.
I mean, we'll hit
Now,
on
I
it.
apologize, guys. It's a more of a legal thing. I don't want lawyers to call and be like, we need to take that part out, because I don't want to take anything out. So I'd rather not take a part out than spill the beans.
Yeah. That is a really good demo, but there is another demo too that maybe it makes sense to do it around it, or there's a branding aspect to hit it too. But it's truly the cooler in the truck bed of a guy that just got done building fence, or a guy that just got done
maybe
working
we build more
cows.
accessories for them too.
That's
Our
correct.
accessory business is massive as well. If you go on happydad.com, these hats, we were told by Amazon. So Amazon told me this. We outsold John Deere and Bass Pro Shop hats combined last year on Amazon with the Happy Dad hat. So
Doing something right.
yeah. So so maybe it's accessory. Maybe we create a custom collection. We'll be doing that with them too.
Yeah.
But there'll be a custom collection for who you're talking about as well.
I love that can design too.
That can design will be the #1 seller at Walmart.
And I'm telling you, and once again, guys,
I think it's going to outsell that's the lemonade flavor. Will be that collab. That will outsell the seltzer, in my opinion.
when you get into that space, you can get so bougie where it doesn't make sense. Like, people can't even afford this company, but that company, you hit the fucking nail on the head.
Yeah.
Does that make sense? Like,
yeah.
you can go, and we'll talk a little bit alpha of it, but there's like people that like being outdoors that can't afford this company, but that company that you're doing it,
You know
is
the owner?
right up their alley. Very well.
Has he been on here?
No, but he's
behind the scenes.
he is. No, not really. I mean,
He's built a brand.
oh, dude, the stories that I'm going to tell you after this are fucking awesome.
Yeah, he's built a brand. Like,
Awesome.
who I've shown that to. Yeah, when I said this is going to be the #1 seller at Walmart, that wasn't even my words. I showed that to Kid Rock last night. He's like, that's going to sell more than their seltzer. He's the one that actually told me that. I was like, I thought that before, but I thought it was bold. But hearing that from Kid Rock, he's like, that's going to outsell. And he knows that audience.
Yeah.
If anyone knows that audience, it's him. So
Correct.
yeah.
I want to hear one or two kind of business ventures that you've had that just completely flop. But then I also want to hear kind of some that you're exciting about. The Happy Dad, we've talked, I mean, the fact that you have 118 employees, and I know you by now, you're not just hiring fucking people like just to hire them. If you're hiring them, they have a job and a purpose, and 118 employees is a lot. So I feel we're good here. Happy Dad is working. I mean, you're taking over the world with Happy Dad.
I think that's the other one thing I got to say on that is when you build a brand like a Happy Dad or anything that you're looking into, is the team is so important. We've got such an awesome team that I'm able to just come out to Nashville and just know that the company's running. We're talking about like senior level people that have joined from like all types of beverage companies, whether it's another beer company, Red Bull, Pepsi, Coke, people who just know branding, placements in stores, relationships with stores. So like one guy we know, like there's a major chain in the Midwest that hadn't brought Happy Dad in, but it's a huge market, just didn't really know what Happy Dad was. We brought one guy on board. He came from Red Bull. He knew the buyer. Within 2 weeks, we were in, I think it was like 60 stores in the Midwest. You got to have people who have those expertise and those relationships. Well, before anything, the product's got to be great. You know, like, and that's what I always say about every celebrity brand. I was talking about it with, I met last night Steve, he owns Losers.
Steve Ford is a beautiful friend of mine. Love you, Steve, and business mind as well. Big time
Very
entrepreneur.
good guy,
That's somebody you should definitely know
we just
more.
met last night. I didn't really know.
Yeah.
Kid Rock introduced us, and then we just went to a spot and we were just talking. But we were talking about celebrity brands, and the problem is with celebrity brands is celebrities think they can throw their name on anything and it'll sell. That's not true. Yeah, the truth is every fan will buy something once. Well, will they come back and buy again and again? Will I buy? I don't mean to bash him, but I don't really know him, so I could say. But like Bruno Mars had a rum. Nobody knows he had a rum come out. So if I'm a Bruno Mars fan, which I'm not, but I mean, I respect what he's built. I just don't really know his music except for what you hear at clubs. Is am I gonna buy the Bruno Mars rum? Be, this is so good. I'm gonna go to Nashville. I'm gonna see Pat. Pat, you drink rum? Have you tried this Bruno Mars shit? This is next level. Am I gonna do that? Because that's what it takes for these to happen. And you probably don't listen to Bruno Mars whatsoever.
I don't mean the what is it, 24 karat gold?
Yeah, that's
because I hear it in the club.
Yeah, or
he's had like 2 bangers. I'm with you.
Nah, it's like Thunder.
Just the Way You Are, I guess was a hit.
Oh, Treasure.
Yeah. Yeah. Gotcha.
Anyways, those are the 2 I know. But Thunder, shit. Roast all you want in the comments. But more comments, the better for the algorithm. So roast me all you want.
I want to hit on the algorithm after you finish this, because you do make a good point. Like, you can throw somebody's name on anything, but it's like that next step of buying it twice. Yeah.
Yes, we might not even know Bruno Mars is the biggest song, but if the product is great, dude, you got to try this rum.
Yeah.
I'm not even tell you it's Bruno Mars. Go buy whatever it's called, Treasure rum. And that's what's happening with Happy Dad. The product is so great that it started with the Nelk audience. They helped take it to another level, right? We did all the meetups. Everyone saw that on social media, everything we've done, and we still do. But will that one person go tell their dad about it, their buddy about it, the guy who hates the Nelk Boys about it? Will they tell him about it without saying you have to drink the Nelk Boys drink? No, you got to try out Happy Dad. What's that? Oh, bro, try this, man. This is great. And then they sip it, they're like, whoa, this is good. And, so it's got to start with a great product. So it doesn't matter who's behind it. And then they got to put in the work. You can't just create a seltzer, wine, whiskey, protein bar, or whatever you're getting into, energy drink, and just post about it 3 or 4 times. You got to keep letting people know I'm really, really behind this. I'm confident this product is great. Then the fans will keep getting engaged, but it's not just about those fans. They've got to go tell the non-fans about it. I'm not selling you on Nelk Boys. I'm saying you got to go to Publix and try it. Happy Dad, you're gonna try it. There was no, you got to try. It's
well,
not
that goes back to your
thing.
distribution comment you made earlier.
No, it's got to be available at Publix. I got to be able to tell them where to go.
Yeah.
Right. But I don't know where it's at. Let me look it up and let me see where my wife buys it from. It's not that. No. You got to go to Publix. Go to
Walmart. Go to Kroger.
Thornton's big out here, right?
Thornton's, yeah.
Yeah. Go to
Buc-ee's. Are you in Buc-ee's?
Oh yeah.
I love a Buc-ee's.
We crush Buc-ee's.
Dude.
We crush Buc-ee's.
Everybody.
You will probably go to Buc-ee's and not see us there, and you're not seeing us there because we're probably always sold out at Buc-ee's. Like I remember I went to Buc-ee's. There's a new one that opened up somewhere in North Colorado. I went there and we had 1 12-pack, and I called our local Colorado team. I was like, "Why do we only have 1 12-pack?" They're like, they just had like 150 delivered on Monday. You're there on a Thursday. Those are all gone. I'm like, show me the stats, and they like sent me the files. Like literally, Buc-ee's. We just can't keep it in stock in Buc-ee's.
The beef jerky, what's that about? You love to...
Yeah. The jerky we want to relaunch and just have a healthy snack alternative. And that's kind of the goal, whether it's parents not buying candy for their kids as a snack. It's really tasty and kids love it. We have some flavors that won't be out in first version. So the brand's changing completely. The name is changing. And it'll be coming in the forms of sticks and high quality meat with minimal ingredients. I worked with Gary Brecka on like making sure like we have the best meat, best ingredients, super clean. So it's become Gary Brecka approved, which I run almost everything by when it comes to like health and wellness and diet and exercise, everything. And really the goal is to just build out more with these partners and the distributors that we have and do more with them. We have such great relationships with all our distributors because of Happy Dad and all these retailers from the Publix and Walmarts and Kroger's, 7-Eleven, you name it, Buc-ee's, everybody. Like everyone's been an A+ partner. So we're like, how can we help them and create more products and other SKUs that disrupt the space and make it better for you as well.
It's really cool when you think about, and we talked about distribution, and when you say distribution, you could just be like easy accessibility to go grab one of your products. But I think it's really cool and smart that you're building Happy Dad or the pouches or the beef jerky. And when you think about immediate distribution, you have a fucking monster company to push these products too.
Well, that's the other thing too. And I know we talked about advertisers before, and there are some great advertisers. There's a lot of great. We've worked or talked to every gambling partner. PrizePicks, DraftKings, Underdog, like you name it. They're all great people to work with. And I strongly recommend if you're not going to get into that business, find a great partner in that business. Like we're never going to build a gambling app or a crypto platform like a MoonPay. So partner with ones and treat those brands like they're yours as well, which is what we do. So be great partners and find great partners, be great partners with them. Not just product, but the people behind it, whatnot. But outside of that, use your platform also to build your own brands. I strongly believe that every podcaster, influencer, celebrity should own their own brand. But going back to what we were saying before, not just anything. It's got to be a great product. It's got to be a category that you could bring new people into the category.
You got to believe in it too.
You got to believe in it. You got to have it. You got to try it. You got to, you can't be. I remember there was a celebrity who made a tequila. And I don't know if tequila was good or not. I know what I do know is it's no longer in business. And they were doing this like tour of the tequila, and there was this video I saw it on either Instagram or TikTok, and they were at this. The celebrity had gone to this bar. You know how every celebrity does like the celebrity bartender thing. They were doing the celebrity bartender thing, big outcome, and then the staff at the end. There was a TikTok. Said, all right, let's toast to a great day. And the guy goes, oh, actually, I don't drink. Destroy the whole company. It's like, wait a minute, you phony. like, what do you mean you don't drink? You know what I mean? Like, why am I buying your tequila? You don't even drink. So, there's like you got to believe in your product. You got to you got to really.
I told the brand deals that we have, and we've got some great ones. It all starts with like, do you believe in the product? And I look at it as when I come in and I want to partner with a brand, like I like doing stuff more than just advertising for the brand. I like to get to know the executives and the team and like how else I can help.
It's got to be a real partnership. It can't just be, here, Pat, here's some money. Go say something about me.
That's correct. Not worth it.
No. It's like, let's work together. Going back to the realness.
Yeah.
Your audience has to know that you truly believe in that brand. Like whether the executives, the product, everything, you truly believe in it.
Yeah.
And if you don't, it's not worth the money.
As a great businessman as you are, and listen, I've got a beautiful long-time girlfriend just moving in from La Crescenta, right outside LA. Her dad, Marcos Rubio, was 30-something years at LAPD, just a complete badass. California as a whole, we've talked about it, beautiful state. Tell me why, as a businessman out there, because there's a lot of people leaving the state that are businesses, whether it's I think Netflix or Tesla or maybe a lot of the movie industry. Like dozens. Why?
Yeah, too many to name. One, I live in Orange County, so in my opinion, Orange County is the best place to live in California, and it's just a beautiful place that I grew up, and the only thing that would really move me out of there would be. But you don't have this problem in Orange County. It's a very pro-Trump county. You go, even to this day, Trump's been elected and been president, you still see Trump flags everywhere and MAGA hats, everything. So Orange County is, Trump country. But our staff, our team, a lot of them are there, even though we're nationwide and we have, people from all across the U.S. and even Canada. We have, our distributors. We have over 250 distributors for Happy Dad all across the country, Canada. But the bigger thing is, if I leave California, one less red person and one more blue person, right? Like, I would just be doing the state a disservice and the people that really love California a disservice by leaving and going. I would go to Texas. I love.
Do you? Is that where you'd move?
Love Texas.
Where in Texas?
Texas. I love the North Dallas area.
What about Florida? You want to try Florida out?
I think it's a little too far for me.
Gotcha.
I actually haven't really explored outside of Palm Beach. I haven't really explored outside of Miami.
Beach?
No, I just haven't been outside of. Gotcha. Yeah, I've been. The Trump family lives out there.
Yeah,
So that's the only time I've been to Palm Beach.
Can you come and hang with me in Florida for a little bit?
I mean, you're on the west side, right?
Yeah.
I've never been. We did a quick stop when we launched Happy Dad in Tampa, but it was like a day trip.
Gotcha.
So I haven't really explored, the west side from Fort Myers and Tampa and St. Petersburg. Naples is out that way too, right?
Yep.
Naples, yeah.
Southwest, yeah.
My dream. So one thing people don't know about me is I hate leaving the United States. Like, I hate, and I don't do it. I don't leave the U.S. I'm not a big fan. It's my wife. Hopefully, she's gotten this far into the podcast. She hates when I say this, but I don't like to go to Europe. I have no desire to go to Greece to a trip.
Why is that?
I feel like there's so much in America I haven't seen. And going back to Florida, I've never been to Panama City or
the Floribama bar on the line.
That's my number one bucket list. I've never been there. That's my dream. From the Gulf Shores or even the Mississippi shores, I've never been there, and that's my number one. If you look at my YouTube history, I'm just watching videos of what was it? I think Denton, Florida.
Destin,
Florida.
Yeah.
Destin. I met a family. We were in Hawaii, and I met a family. They were. I was telling them that. They told me they had a house. I didn't know what Destin was, and they told me they had a house there. And they're that's it. I think I forgot. They said it's 45 minutes outside of Pensacola Airport or something like that, or 30 minutes.
But to your point, there's even in Texas, there's probably places you haven't seen.
Florida, that's where I want to go. I want to see your part of town, but part of the state. But that's the redneck Riviera is where I really want to go. So I just feel like there's a lot. I've never been to the Smoky Mountains. I know about it. I've never been to the Smoky Mountains. I've never been to Yellowstone. I've never been to Ozarks.
Me either. That'd be a good one. I'm with you. I don't like going.
Right? There's just so much in America to see. I'm sure there's beautiful places. There's some crazy parts of Missouri. I go to Bentonville once or twice a quarter. 4 or 5, 6 times a year at least. And I'm flying. When you're flying to Fayetteville, you just fly over some crazy beautiful lakes over Missouri, and I'm like, what is that? What's then I'll land. I'll ask some folks that I'm seeing, what is that? Oh, you've got to go there. You love, Texas has a lot of beautiful spots. I've never been down to the Texas shores. I want to go to Brownsville. Well, I want to see SpaceX. I haven't been there yet. That's a bucket list.
Yeah, no kidding.
So
you've probably had a few, when you think about, and I don't care who it's with, but when you think about an experience that you've had, I mean, the Trump Force One, I'm sure that's up there. But what's been one that you're holy shit, how did I get here?
There's probably a lot.
Dude, there's got to be a lot. But even last night hanging, that's a cool experience. But
that was one last night. I landed. Kid Rock texted me, have you landed yet? I said, just did. He said, I'm going to be playing at Losers at 9. I landed at 8:30. He's like, I'm playing. Luckily, I didn't have check-in bag, so I was like, cool. I looked at the Google Maps. It's 14 minutes. I was like, meet you at Losers. He said, actually, I was like, I'm 14 minutes away. He's like, oh, in that case, come by the restaurant. Went by the restaurant, the Detroit Cowboy, and toward that, he's like, jump in the Cybertruck. Let's go to Losers together. We go to Losers. He did 1 or 2 songs.
Yeah.
And I was like, I knew I had an early morning with you. And I'm like, hey, I'm going to go crash. Like, no, we're going out tonight. I'm like, where? He's like, here. They're going to close off. So they had that outside section of losers.
Yeah.
And it's like 1:30 a.m. And it's just me and him just drinking. I'm like, what the hell am I doing? Like 1:30 a.m. just drinking with Kid Rock.
How did that relationship happen?
His son. His son, yeah.
Yo,
Bobby
you
Jr.
introduced me to.
Yeah.
It seems like a
Yeah.
great dude. Bobby hit me. He's like, hit me up. I know. I need to hit him up.
He'll lose his mind because when I was saying that I've been telling Kid Rock we should be doing this for years, me and Bobby have been telling Kid Rock. Like Bobby, and by the way, he could be a great podcaster. He's a great speaker, very likable.
I've heard
guy.
nothing but
there
great
is some
things about
stuff you and I could talk later, or, or maybe I'll even make another trip to Nashville. We'll sit down with him, or if you can, you're connected with him now.
Yeah,
it's like get him in here. I think Bobby should have his own podcast. I think he should have his own, and we should all work together.
Great things.
Yeah, he's a great dude. But
I'm surprised you didn't hit me with like a Dana White experience or something like that, or a Trump one, an Elon. I mean, I'm telling you, you're around the block, man.
I've told this story online before. There is a funny Elon story that I've said on a couple of podcasts that I've been on, and I think we actually did it when we interviewed Elon. I asked Elon if he remembered. He said, yeah. In 2012, I met Elon through a mutual friend, my friend Shervin, and he said, hey, Elon wants to go to a Mayweather fight. He's like, I was working with Mayweather at the time. He's like, can you get tickets? It was the Friday before the fight, like day before. And I'm like, and Elon wasn't Elon yet, right? Like Elon was the guy known as the guy who just sold PayPal. Tesla was brand new, SpaceX. Yeah. So it wasn't like the Elon Musk of today. So let me call, like Mayweather's got his phone off like day before a fight. And he's the only point for good seats. You have to call Floyd for the day before fight. It's almost like UFC. You got to call Dana White. Well, like Floyd was like his own promotion company. So like he was the point of contact, but it's also day before fight. Anyways, long story short, I figured it out. And he goes, hey, he's really grateful. He wants to know. He's like, you're going for sure. I was like, yeah, I'm flying with Bieber. And he goes, well, you guys want to just fly with us? It actually would be nice. His kids will be there. His kids want to meet Bieber, this and that. So same thing. I had to convince Bieber, like, hey, listen, like, you want to meet him. This guy just sold PayPal. He's like launching, he's got this plan, he's got one of the biggest electric car companies, but electric cars weren't really a thing. They were more a failure back then. But I was like, yeah. And in my opinion, I think this is going to be the guy who's going to figure it out. Like, Bieber was in. But he's like, sure, I'll cancel my plane. We were supposed to fly out. Bieber had his own plane. He was taking a bunch of his buddies. So he's like, is the plane big enough, you think? And I didn't know what he meant by big enough. So I was like, I'm sure it's massive. Like, it's Elon Musk. Like, I know you don't know who he is, but I know who he is. Like, I'm sure his plane's massive. So we're supposed to take off. It was like 9 a.m., wheels up. And I got there early. Me and my brother got there early. There's pictures. I can show you if you guys want to pop up. If you just search, you'll see pictures. But they're funny because we were so young back then. And it's 9 a.m. Bieber's nowhere to be found. And I'm calling him. His phone's off. So I called the security. I was like, where are you guys? Like 10 minutes away. I was like, how are you guys going to be 10 minutes away from like wheels up, like. And I'm looking at Elon, I'm like apologizing. He didn't care. He's like, it's fine. Like, it's like, we're in no rush. Yeah. So I was like, all right. I look outside the window of the plane and I see three SUVs pull up. I'm like, why does he have so many cars? Get out. He's got like 12 friends with him. But Elon's got like Elon, my buddy Shervin, Elon's brother Kimball, my brother. He's got his family. He's got his kids. And there's like maybe 2 or 3 seats left open because it was supposed to be Bieber plus 2. But he's got like 12 friends. So I run out of the plane. I'm like, what are you doing? He's like, I thought you said this guy's loaded, man. I'm like, yes. He's like, well, what kind of plane is this? He's like, it looks big enough for all my friends. Like, yeah, but he's got a bunch of people. There's no way these people are going to all fit on this plane. So I walk back in. Elon's like, everything okay? I was like, I'm so sorry, man. Like, he just brought a lot of people. So I'll try to figure out, we could probably just put them all, it's Vegas, LA to Vegas. It's like 45 minutes. We'll just get a Southwest flight.
Yeah.
He's like, no, we're at Van Nuys Airport. He's like, there's another airport nearby, Burbank Airport. He's like, I have another plane at Burbank. Just give me 20 minutes. I'll get my other plane here. 20 minutes later, another plane lands. He puts all of Bieber's friends on the other plane. And it was like the most like gangster move.
Dude.
Like, oh, I'll get my other plane here in 20 minutes.
What a gangster,
Yeah,
man.
so I don't. There's a lot of stories. That ones I've shared before. But it's. I'm just trying to think of like stories that sound so fake. You know,
That
like,
you would
like
just-
it's like like.
Who what you've done with Kyle and obviously Kyle, a great content creator, but like anybody, I mean, Steiny's doing great. We just talked about that, but like who else do you like right now, whether you're working with him or not? Like, I don't know if you do anything with Logan or Jake.
No, just friends.
Okay.
Not anymore. We did.
Yeah.
I used to work with both of them, and Jake actually we managed for many years too. They just become friends. Jake's both of them. Actually, Logan, I can't make it, but he's getting married this summer. He's sent me an invite. But I'd go if it was in the United States, but it's in Italy, so I ain't going to Italy. That is not even just as more personal things that I have going on this summer. But I don't know. I mean, there's always
some
changing.
good ones right
I mean,
now.
I think Aiden Ross is a beast. You know what I think is there's a lot of great content creators, podcasters, streamers, athletes, rodeo riders. Like every vertical's got really cool people. What I think is like who can own a business, who could create the next Happy Dad or Prime.
That's a great point.
And I think, that's what I look at is like, someone like Aiden could own a product and it would crush. Like who could own a company that, like Road Beauty, Hailey Bieber's company just sold for $1 billion. So it was announced last week. Who could create the next, we know creators could create businesses if it's the right product. Road was a great product. It still is a great product. It sold for $1 billion, just a few years old. Happy Dad's going that direction. Looks like Prime might be going that direction. Who could create that? And I think there's a lot of people. And by the way, you don't have to be a massive name. Nelk Boys were not a massive name when Happy Dad launched at all. It doesn't have to be a massive name. It just has to be someone that has a platform and will partner with the right human being, then get the right product, all the stuff we talked about, product that tastes great, put in the work, not just 3 Instagram posts and think that's it. We'll put in the work. And I think, there's a lot of people that can do that. It could be people that we haven't heard of. It could be someone that's just popping now. It could be you. It could be anybody. It could be anybody. But to answer your question, the first person that jumps in my mind is Aiden Ross.
Yeah.
I think Aiden Ross is a beast. And he will put in the work. He's a good dude, smart, ambitious. Once he finds a product that works, he's going to crush that.
And then outside of the content creator, the big thing right now, which we said the word earlier, and I said I need to get your comment on it. The algorithm, man. I mean, you've been doing this a long time, and I appreciate the plugs you've been giving of like more comments you get, you beat the algorithm. Like, what are your thoughts on that?
Well, that one's not a secret. That one's been happening for a while, and that actually might not even be as relevant by the time this goes live. Things are changing all the time. A big thing that's changing right now is the growth of these AI agents like ChatGPT, Grok, Gemini. These guys. Whatever your AI agent of choice is. So what we've got to figure out, you and I, is how do we feed that information? I'm looking for a podcast that talks to the agricultural community. How do you pop up? We got to now learn that, right? Like there's just, everything's changing. The algorithm stuff, what I was talking about, basic, right? Comment, more you like, more you subscribe, more you engage with this post, more you share it on external platforms. YouTube's algorithm sees traffic from multiple sources, thinks the video is relevant, so now you get more suggested, and if someone's watching a relevant podcast, or you've had a big name, I'm not a big enough name, but like a Josh Allen name, like someone's watching Josh Allen on Pat McAfee, how do you get recommended on that side? You know what I mean? That's all the algorithm, that's all the
Luckily,
engagement.
we got the same names, that might help Pat and I.
Was that? Oh, yeah.
Yeah, so if you
Well, it
type in
does.
Pat.
I mean, well, it does. The title is important. Thumbnail's important. YouTube's algorithm looks at everything. That's why you see these, these super loud thumbnails need people to click. You see the titles, right? Buzzword, the title. What's the title of this going to be? John Shahidi talks about how he met Donald Trump, right? Like, but not even John Shahidi, because that's not a big enough name. How the Nelk Boys got close with Donald Trump, title, right? So someone's going to click on that more than meet John Shahidi. Like, who, you know what I mean? So you want the click through.
Yeah.
More click through, then the more engagement, the more watch through, which hopefully this conversation is going that right direction where people are still listening. What are we, over an hour in now?
Yeah.
There's still though. So watch through, engagement, likes, comments, shares, traffic coming from Instagram, Snapchat, X, all these places. That's what the algorithm looks at. That's today. That's today. That's the last week. That's last year. That's the last 10 years, 15, 16 years of the YouTube algorithm. Moving forward though is, people aren't going to be going to Google as much now to search, or YouTube. They're just going to be in ChatGPT. They're going to be searching, give me a list of 5 great podcasts I should be listening to. How do you show up there? Let's be specific. I want to be, is there a podcast out of Nashville that speaks to the country, NASCAR, agricultural farmer community? Yes, there is.
Like a farmer. Number one.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But how do you get that? How do you teach these AI models that? That's something what we've got to learn, that I'm learning right now. I've got some things I'm experimenting that I don't want to talk about yet because I'm not sure if it's working yet. But, that's what what's the funniest podcast out there? I think Theo's so funny and so big now that he will come up if you search down ChatGPT.
You think he's one? Like, if I said your top 5 and top 3, whatever you want to give me, like podcasts in a long form conversation, who is your, like, John Shahidi's personal ones?
Rogan one, of course. I think it's everybody's.
Monster, dude. Have you ever spent time with?
That's the one person I haven't spent a lot of time. We see each other at UFC, say hi. He's talked about us. He's actually played clips of me before. Like, there was one episode, I forgot what I asked. We were talking about ice ages with Elon, and he didn't really mention me. He's just like, I like this question this guy asked, and he played my clip. But just through Dana White and through Trump, he just knows of me. But that's the one person I haven't spent a lot of time with. I don't even think I've seen him outside of the UFC arenas.
So he's one, obviously.
I would say one. Depends on what mood I'm in. If I'm in I want to laugh mood, Theo.
Yeah.
If I'm in I want to learn about certain policies or what's going on in politics, Patrick Bet-David.
PBD, dude, great, down in Florida.
Yeah, down in Fort Lauderdale.
Love his show.
I would listen to him. If I want to break down into deep politics, I'll listen to Benny Johnson or Charlie Kirk. If I just want to listen to a good interview with some random person, Full Send podcast, it's always like random, right? Like Bill Maher just went out, like
just random.
So there's that.
Do you believe? Because I will say, and I've told this to everybody, it's not like I'm a guy that influencer is a weird word or content creator. Like, I truly believe in like storytelling and telling it's almost like a movement. Like, hey, I have this movement that I feel like is happening in the country that I want to kind of highlight. But I'm not big on like short form, as in like I'm not great at it. Like, I'm not a vlogger, I guess that would be the terminology. And Nelk Boys have done really well in that short form and the long form. But do you see, like, you have to be good at both? Do you have to do both? It's not like, Rogan's a monster. It's not like he's out there vlogging or doing anything like that. He's got his comedian stuff that he's doing, so he's being seen in different eyeballs. But what are your thoughts? You've got this podcast network that you're starting or rebranding. Like, are you going to have a mixture of short form and long form? Do you think you have to have both to be successful? Does that make sense?
Yeah,
like, I'm just not a short form guy.
Well, let's talk about Nelk. I think Kyle likes so. There are some people who've got the brain capacity to do it all. Not everybody does. Kyle's got the capacity of, let's just make, what's big out there? Podcasting big. What's big out there? Premium vlogs. What's big out there? Short form content. He's got the capacity to think, today I'm just going to make this 1-minute video of putting Trump signs
I know.
or Kamala Harris signs in front of,
It's just unbelievable
Trump,
content.
hardcore Trump communities, right? And that was just a 1-minute video that just goes absolutely viral. Actually, the president even shared it on his socials. But then he could turn off that switch and be like, all right, I got to get into podcast mode. Let me get a big yes. Let me get who's relevant right now. Well, Bill Maher just went to the White House. Let's lock him in. Let's get that, and let's introduce Bill Maher to a whole different audience, because I guarantee most people who listen to the Full Send podcast did not know who Bill Maher was. Or they've heard of the name, they just don't know anything about him. They can't name anything about him. Then he could turn that up, be like, all right, cool, we need to make a Nelk video. And we can't make the same Nelk videos that we made 10 years ago. Kyle's now 30 years old. 10 years ago, he's 20. Like, I got to which means the 20-year-old fan is now 30 years old as well. I've got to age up, and he's always been able to grow with his audience, and I got to make somewhat more mature content, but have that same heart that Nelk's always had. So so now, he's learned how to, but not a lot of people have that kind of, Kyle he could call me, I could check my phone right now and be like, hey, let's work on a movie and sell to Netflix. And he could just turn that on, right? And that's different than a 60-second video on TikTok or an hour interview with Bill Maher. But he's a director at heart. Like, that's what he wanted to be when he grew up. So that's why he could turn that on. But not everyone's got that, right? Mm-hmm. Like, just like I don't have it. I don't have podcasting in me. Why don't I have a podcast? I'm a businessman. I know how to build businesses. So it just really depends on the person and what do they got. Theo could do a podcast with Mark Zuckerberg and go out on stage and perform in front of 12 to 15,000 people, sell out an arena that same day. So some people have that in them. Kyle can't do that. Kyle wouldn't be able to go and do a stand-up show, but he could go and make a movie. So it just depends on the person.
Yeah. What do you have planned for? In the beginning of the episode, going from shots to the Full Send network, like, what's your idea? Like, in 5 years, if I said, hey, John, like, what is success? What does that look like to you?
Well, the reason why a lot of focus is being put into our network, and the thing I would advise to you on and off camera is, this is the new media company. We're the future of media. Like, if you were a company in 1985, you want to be in media, you're like, all right, cool. I'm going to get into the magazine publishing business. Like, I'm going to build magazines, or in the 70s or late 60s, I'm going to be Time Magazine, Life Magazine, Sports Illustrated, whomever, Playboy, going to the 90s, Maxim, whatever, that was old media. Or if you had a lot of money, you got into the TV network business or a radio network business. That was old media. If you wanted to own media in the 60s through early 2000s, you had to be a TV network, radio network, magazine network, publishing network. That's all old now. The new, if you warped that same person from that day to 2025, it's a podcast network. We are the new media. So that's the focus right now with Full Send Network, or your network, is let's be the media. Like, you are, I'm the new Time Magazine, you're the new Sports Illustrated. You know what I mean? Like, we're just like, we're going after the same thing, just different audiences. Mm-hmm. I'm not saying I'm specific Time. I'm just saying, for example, like, that's a little different. What you're doing is different in Sports Illustrated. But I'm just saying, for example, that's what we're going after. This is the new media company. If you're building a media company right now, it better be a podcast network. If you don't have podcasting part of you're gonna be out of business. You're going to be dead. That's why all these magazines are selling for nothing or shutting down now. Imagine if they got into it. I pitched those guys, by the way. I pitched Rolling Stone magazine 2018 on creating a podcast network. They looked at me like I was crazy. They looked at me like I was dumb. Actually, I made a whole presentation on partnering with Rolling Stone. They told me not interested, and I think they blocked me. They were like, this is the dumbest idea. Like, you know what I mean? Like, how's Rolling Stone doing? And how are we doing?
Spot on.
You watching this episode? You watching Nelk? You watching Theo? You watching Rogan? Or you reading Rolling Stone magazine?
Magazine, yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, but imagine if they got into the podcast business, but they didn't want to. None of them did. None of these. Time Magazine tried to get into, and they actually hired a really good friend of mine who's now the CEO of MoonPay, and he tried to do that with Time Magazine. My buddy Keith, I don't know what happened, but it didn't work, and he left and became a CEO of one of the biggest crypto platforms in MoonPay instead. So they just don't want to. I'm not saying that so happened Time. I didn't know Keith at the time of Time, but what I do know is why did Time let Keith leave? You know, when he's one of the smartest guys when it comes to digital media. These old companies don't think the way we do, so great, let them eventually
die off,
and we
I
take
love
over.
it. I mean, I've told you before, it's like, this is my passion. I had a past career life. Josh came in my life. This is what I feel like we should do. These are the verticals we should go attack. And it's like, and I'm a big fan in both sides when you think about building a network, because you're going two ways. You're starting from the bottom, you're going to acquire. Like, for instance, Bobby, if he would be great at a podcaster, let's start it. Let's start your brand. But there might be some brands out there that you just go and acquire because it makes sense. And you've seen it both ways. I'm sure you've done transactions both ways.
You bring them into your network, you let them do what they want to do, an existing podcast, and you just put your muscle behind it and help take them to another level. You know, whether it's your Rolodex, brand advertisers, cross promotion, whatever it is, like, you just bring them on, you just help the dude. You know, you and I would never tell anyone what to do. I never tell a podcast ever what to do. I just say, hey, you keep doing what you're doing, and I'm just going to help take you to another level. That's all you've got to do, is just find that guy that's in these verticals that you're interested in, all the ones that you named earlier, and just give them a call and be like, hey, I just want to take, I'm not taking over. I'm not going to tell you what to do. You want my 2 cents on some advice, like we were talking about earlier, like, I'm not a big fan of like Zoom podcasts or, you know, whatever it is. Even if you could get Elon Musk, if you were not a Zoom style podcast, all your podcasts are in person, and an opportunity comes in to Zoom in Elon, pass on that and eventually tell them, hey, I'll wait until you're in Nashville, or maybe I'll come to Austin to see you. I'll just wait, you know, but that's not my style. Don't change your content, you know, for a specific person.
Before we wrap up, man, I got to know, because you've, from the businesses to the content creators, I mean, everything that you have your hands in, what's like the biggest goal that you've yet to accomplish that you feel like is almost there, but that you got to get there?
You know, I think I'm in the process of all my goals right now. You know, I wanted to own a company, I wanted to have a family, I wanted to get married. I wanted to get married to the right person, which I married my wife a few years ago. Be a good family man, be healthy. So I'm in the middle of hitting all my goals, staying healthy, being a good husband, being a good leader, helping friends, meeting new friends, helping new friends. Yeah, I think I'm in the process of my existing goals.
You've got a great story, man. I mean, I could sit here for another 3 hours. Like, this has been really cool, and you get it. Like, the fact that you could come in here, because I 100 million% believe, like, Pat, like, I was talking to Bob about this 4 years ago. Like, you have something here. Like, you get it. Like, you truly, and then you mentioned it, you can go to Hollywood, and they might call it the Yellowstone effect, but, you know, just hanging out last night, you get it. Whether it was with Gavin and Riley or people waiting to see those people, like, and you could drive your car down Broadway and see, like, man, this is a lifestyle. I believe Nashville is the HQ of that lifestyle, I think. You know, Texas is a beautiful state that does a great job. The Midwest, the flyover states, you know. I mean, I think that is home of this lifestyle, but somebody needs to go and attack it and highlight it, because it's cool. Like, country is cool again. It just is. And I appreciate you seeing that and coming into the studio today and then believing in me. I really do.
Yeah, of course. Well, thank you for having me.
I think we've got a long friendship ahead, and look forward to seeing what we can do together.
I'm always happy to come see you whenever I'm in town.
Appreciate it. And as always, guys, what a hell of an episode. Please, every single week on Wednesday, catch me on YouTube or wherever you listen to your audio podcast. And don't ever forget to be like a farmer.